This programme's brought to you by Dunlop Tyres, Autosportinsurance.com, Praga New Generation and Spa05.com. The legendary Eau Rouge, one of the most demanding corners in the world. Get it right and you're rewarded with speed. Get it wrong and your race can be over in a second. Welcome to Spa Francorchamps in the forest of the Belgian Ardennes for round 10 of the Supercar Challenge. All the series divisions are present and will be on track together, making for a grid of over 60 cars. And with just 4 races to go, all the contenders are ready to face this demanding 7-kilometre circuit to score vital points. No doubt the habitually capricious Spa weather will add an extra dimension to the challenge. Pole in Super GT goes to Robert de Graaf and Philippe Ribbon, who lies second in the championship. They're back in the E-Tech Viper, rebuilt after the heavy collision at a soaking wet Zandvoort, where they lost their Super GT championship lead.
Ja, het ging heel goed. Het was echt weer een goed gevoel.
It was great to drive at Spa with the Viper, says Robert. We love racing here. We had a massive crash at Zandvoort and the Viper really got badly damaged. The team have done a fantastic job rebuilding her. She's going like a train again on the first outing. So hats off to the boys. We're really happy with pole position. Dietrich Saithoff is the Super GT Championship leader. With Alex van 't Hoff, he'll line up third after qualifying, and all they've got to do is to follow the E-Tech Viper.
Nou ja, we staan er nu goed voor. Ik sta nu 5.
Well, championship's looking good, says Dietrich. We're 25 points ahead of our closest rivals. But anything can happen in these races, especially with the weather forecast for this weekend. So we just have to keep pushing, see what happens. Guest drivers in the mad and daring Corvette C6 GT3 are Porsche Super Cup stars Jaap van Lagen and Wolf Narten. They could help Saithoff out during the race. Pole in the GT class goes to Pim van Reert, who lies second in the points. He's driving alone this weekend. Series leader Barry Mason had problems in qualifying, but not like GTB frontrunners René Weinen and Charlie Freins. They're second in the standings. They wrecked their Porsche in qualifying, but luckily Lamertink Racing has given them a replacement car. Errol Artan from the Race Art team takes pole position. He's slowly gaining in the championship. Robin and Ferry Monster lead the Supersport Championship, but the brothers aren't starting on pole in their Seat Leon Supercopa. They're second in the class, but still 6 vital places ahead of championship rivals Peter van Solen and Koen Bokaerts in their BMW M3 GTR. In the Sport 1 division, it's John van der Voort and Priscilla Spelman who start from pole position. Cold but dry conditions for the start of Saturday's first race. Robert de Graaf leading them away in the yellow Dodge Viper. Father and son Jim and Glyn Geddy, the 2011 British GT champions, second on the grid in their McLaren MP4. Red lights are on. And away we go, watching with Jan Versluys. Everybody looking for the inside line. Barry van Elk coming up the inside, but on the outside, around go Noel Kohler and Koen Wolters. Contact there, Barry van Elk in the blue Mosler, and that was Wolf Narten in the grey and yellow Corvette. Well, Koen taking the safe outside line at La Source, but gets on to the AstroTurf, drops behind. Jan Versluys in 6th, chasing Barry Elk in the blue Mosler. Great start for Noel Kohler in the Race Art Corvette, who's moved up from 9th to 4th at the start. Having to change down behind Barry van Elk. That Mosler very slow into Eau Rouge, and they're going to be sitting ducks up the hill. Well, let's take a look again at La Source. Leaders make it through, but watch the Corvette. Wolf Narten turning a little too early. Looking back from Robert de Graaf, the leader. Alex van 't Hoff on the left. Jim Geddy on the right. They fan out around the back of the Viper. There's contact further back. Good start by Noel Kohler. He moves up to 4th. While Robert de Graaf escaping those dramas, running away at the front of the field, but the race would end for the team at the pit stops.
Gisteren is er het hart van een velg is gescheurd en dat is begonnen met een klein scheurtje.
Well, we caught up with Robert on Sunday. He said yesterday one of the wheels got damaged. It started with a small crack in the right rear, and in the high-speed corners where the loads are very big, the crack just grew and grew. The centre of the wheel separated almost completely from the rest of the rim, and that damaged the brakes. We started to lose brake pressure, and that was the beginning of a number of incidents and really led to the end of the race. After the pit stops, the 2011 British GT champions Jim and Glyn Geddy took the lead. There was a drive-through penalty for the second-place Porsche of Rick Abresh and Nicky Pastorelli because of this collision with Roger Grels early in the race. Very slippery conditions as it started to rain. Contact was made, but certainly unintentional. Well, the mad and daring Corvette GT1 of Diedrich Seithoff changed to rain tyres at the very end of the pit window. The track was slippery, but not yet wet enough for full wets, but they gambled on the rain getting heavier. It looked as though they had gambled wrong until it started to rain very heavily right at the end of the race. The McLaren of Glyn Geddy, the race leader, was still on slicks. He couldn't even keep the car in a straight line, and Diedrich Seithoff claimed the first win of the weekend out of the final corner. Jim and Glyn Geddy took second, Rick Abresh and Nicky Pastorelli were third.
Ja, ze heeft wel net gehaald, ja. Het was,
Well, very close, said Diedrich Seithoff. We started in the dry and finished in the pouring rain. And in between, the weather changed all the time. It started to rain, then it got dry again. So in the pit stop, we had no idea what tyre to choose, slicks or wets. I decided to stay on slicks, but just before I left, it started to rain very hard, so we put on the wets. But it was a very short shower. I did most of my stint in the dry. The tyres were almost gone when it started to rain really hard again, so luck was on our side, and we ended up with the win. Great Britain's Sean Balfe took victory in GT from Stefan Belling and Bert Redant, with Simon Atkinson's Lambo in third. Pim van Riet dropping to fifth in the race because of results seconds during the pit stop. Championship leader Barry Mason finished fourth, so no major changes there. In the GTB class, it was Kees Kreiner, the championship leader, who claimed victory in his Aston Martin from Errol Artan, Rennie Vinen and Charlie Frines on the podium with their borrowed car.
Uiteindelijk denk ik dat we een goede strategie gekozen hebben en eerste plek.
Kees saying we chose the right strategy for sure. A win's just what we needed to extend our lead in the championship. I'm really happy with the result. Thrilling battle in the Supersport class, which is turning into the most competitive this season. André de Vries and Peter Stock started from pole position and led the race early on. Kurt Oyser in the black Lotus Evora GT4 lay second, and the battle for third was between Ferry Monster and Peter Hoevenaars with the red-nosed BMW 1 Series. Hoevenaars suffered a lot of bad luck so far this season, but he would claim victory at Spa. The Monster brothers taking second, 3 vital places ahead of their biggest title rivals, Peter van Soler and Koen Bokaerts. So Hoevenaars tops the podium, but the Monster brothers still lead the championship. Peter Stock's André de Vries claiming third. Last couple of laps are really wet, says our winner. I was still on slick, so I had to take care. I had a 20-second lead, and luckily that was enough. Hopefully we'll be able to repeat that tomorrow. We've gained some result seconds, of course, but it shouldn't be too much of a problem. Teun Rutgers drove solo to victory in Sport 1 ahead of John van der Voort and Priscilla Spelman, who retook the championship lead. Their rival Erik van den Munkhoff dropping out of the race with technical problems. So the team's preparing for Sunday's race, and always a great opportunity for fans and sponsors alike to see the cars and the mechanics close up. A good chance for us as well to meet some of the brand new faces for this racing weekend, including Koen Wouters. He's the lead singer of famous Belgian band Clouseau and a driving enthusiast. He's replaced Bert Longin for the weekend, his first time out in a Ferrari. He started 8th in Saturday's race, fought his way forward to 6th, but changeable weather conditions played a big part in the race. The team gambled wrongly on tyres and ended up paying the price.
Nou, toen ik binnenkwam, ik had zoveel tijd verloren. Het was aan
Well, I lost a lot of time in my stint in the race, says Koen. Some of the track was very wet, some was still dry. Just before I came into the pits, I said to the team we probably ought to go onto wets. We were gambling that there was going to be more rain later on in the race, but unfortunately that didn't happen. So the wets got ruined, and you just can't race on them in that condition. You slide all over the place. So my teammate Frans had to come back in then for a set of slicks, and that was an interesting last 5 laps for him, because that's when it started to rain again. Guess it just wasn't our race. Second in Saturday's race was this McLaren MP412C GT3, driven by father and son combination Jim and Glyn Geddy. They're the reigning British GT champions from 2011, and they told us why they had joined the Supercar Challenge in Spa.
I've done 3 rounds in the last 6 years, and to be honest with you, the grids they've got are absolutely fantastic. The UK, unfortunately, some of the grids are down to 7 or 8 cars, and to come here to go on a track with 60, 70 cars is absolutely brilliant. And I think you're up against cars here in GT1 category, GT2, so it really gives you a challenge to race against these different size cars. And yeah, if we can get a podium, be excellent. If we get a top 5, I'd be delighted. So Dutch Supercar, we're looking at the whole championship next year potentially. So if these 2 races go well here in Assen in 2 weeks' time, we want to come here for the whole season next year.
Well, everybody getting ready for Sunday's second race. Dietrich Seithoff will lead them away. Here's the pole sitter for the second race of the weekend in the Chevy Corvette. Jim Geddy will start second in the McLaren ahead of Nicky Pastorelli's Porsche, with Wim Lumbeck in his Dodge Viper in 4th position. Jan Verslijs starts down in 8th place. Jaap van Lagen's Corvette alongside him. Sean Bowles' Ferrari right in front of us. GT pole sitter starting 6th overall. Getting ready for the lights to change, and already starting to accelerate. Here we go. Jump start for Jaap van Lagen. Got away very quickly in the Corvette. He was already between the row in front, surely as the lights changed. A little bit of outbraking by Wim Lumbeck in the Viper, and it looks like all the front runners are safely through, and that's no mean feat at La Source. Well, great start for Jaap van Lagen, now up to 4th place. He started 7th on the grid. Battle on for 5th place, moving alongside us. That's Noel Kohler's Corvette down into Eau Rouge. So Jan Verslijs 8th up to 5th, then back down to 6th place away from the start. Out of Eau Rouge, up the Camel Straight. Speed is everything, momentum counts. Jaap van Lagen behind Nicky Pastorelli, and look at this as there's a change in front. Jim Geddy goes up in front of Dietrich Seithoff, but it's Nicky Pastorelli's Porsche that leads. Jaap van Lagen in 2nd place. I think Jan Verslijs got back in front of Noel Kohler there for 5th position as well, under braking GT class led by Sean Bowles. Errol Artan leads GTB. On board with Verslijs, he is in 5th position. That is Dietrich Seithoff right in front. And there's the black Porsche that leads. Nicky Pastorelli ahead of Jaap van Lagen. FIA GT1 driver ahead of Super Cup star. Let's take a look back at La Source. Pretty tidy, but Jan Storm spinning the BMW, just too eager on the throttle. Well, he started in 5th, but now he's going to be dead last. No damage done, though. Well, here is our lead battle then. Nicky Pastorelli versus Jaap van Lagen. Van Lagen, much more recent experience in a 911, but it's Pastorelli in the Porsche, Van Lagen in the C6 Corvette. And look at this, nose to tail, racing away from the rest of the field. Epic stuff, and Van Lagen with a great run through Eau Rouge, around the long way, up the Camel Straight, straight by and into P1. Pastorelli behind him. Is he going to try and outbrake at the top of the hill? He's got a good run going, looks to the inside, he dives into Les Combes, but Van Lagen shuts the door just in time. Epic stuff out front. Now here's the battle with main championship contenders. Dietrich Seithoff in the Corvette got the run on Jim Geddy out of Eau Rouge. He's going by, and Jan Verslijs in the Ferrari is going through as well. Verslijs now up to 4th place. Seithoff back up to 3rd. Jim Geddy down to 5th position. Fantastic racing here at Spa, and that's why this is such a classic circuit. Well, Jim Geddy now being caught by Noel Kohler, and there, from the back of the grid after retirement yesterday, Philip Ribbons in the Viper. Well, this is an epic drive through the field for Philip Ribbons. Will the E-Tech Viper be able to make it up onto the podium? He's got a run going on Noel Kohler for 6th position, flies by up the Camel Straight. Fantastic stuff. Stay with us for more epic racing from Spa. This programme's brought to you by Dunlop Tyres, Autosportinsurance.com, Praga New Generation and Spa05.com. Supercar Challenge Round 10 at Spa Francorchamps. All divisions racing together means a 60-car grid. The problems for Diedrich Seithoff, the pole man. He drops back and has to start to work his way forward once more. The E-Tech Viper started from the back of the grid after problems in Saturday's race, but they're slicing through the field. And there's a titanic lead battle as well. Non-championship contenders Jaap van Lagen and Nicky Pastorelli hard at it in Porsche and Corvette. Well, Nicky Pastorelli with damage on that Porsche now. And look at that, the back is half hanging off it as well. He should be able to continue. Here's how it happened. This is back marker Dick van der Donk in the Mondeo, and Pastorelli at one of the fastest points on the circuit, trying to go around the outside. He's firmly into the barriers. Wow, tough break for the team. They're trying to hacksaw off the damaged bumper. And Nicky Pastorelli doesn't blame the other driver though. Little off. He said it looked like he was breaking down, I think. I tried to go around the outside, and that's when he decided to pull over when I was right alongside. I got forced off, hit the tyre wall. Not his fault, he was distracted. I was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Will change for the lead. Teammate Jaap van Lagen allowing Diedrich Seithoff to go through in front in his Corvette. And Seithoff then coming in for the mandatory pit stop. This must be between the 25th and 35th minute of the race, handing over to Alex Vantoff. And Diedrich explaining why he dropped back earlier on. Well, everything looked good when I was ready for the rolling start, but when it went green I tried to accelerate and the car just didn't have the right amount of power. The traction control lights were flashing. It must have been a sensor, I reckon. So I turned the traction control off after about a lap and a half and everything was fine, but I was down to, I don't know, what, P4, P5? So I started to move back up, came into the pit stops from the lead. Hopefully Alex can keep the good result. He's got no traction control. Tyres are going off a bit. I think we may be on the wrong set of tyres as well, so lots of problems. Problems too for Peter Verslijs, was carving through the field after starting at the back of the grid because he didn't compete on Saturday. It's an unplanned pit stop. The team looking into the engine bay, but the race is over. The engine is broken, he says. Jan, my brother, drove the car on Friday. He said the engine had a problem then. I noticed the same when I started the race. Just no power. I think it must be the engine. So unfortunately retiring. Too bad.
Ik denk de motor kapot is, dus dan moeten we stoppen. Voordat die helemaal kapot loopt. Helaas.
Problems too for the Dodge Viper. Wim Lundbeck pushed back into the garage after starting fourth. His race is over as well. I'll break myself into the first corner on lap one and that spotted the tyres, so fourth was gone in an instant. Well, that wasn't too much of a problem, but lap by lap the braking just got worse. I was sliding all over the place. Turns out we were losing grip because engine oil was leaking onto the tyres, so we've stopped to prevent major damage. Bit of a shame. Second in GTB after the stops, Errol Artan ahead of Kees Kreiner in the Aston. Werner van Herk's Mazda 3 leading the GTB class. Supersport leaders Coroyzer in the Black Lotus Evora from Peter Hovenaar's Ferry Monster there in third place, and Koen Burkhart's fourth in the BMW. Question is, how much can they afford to risk? The Monster brothers only a few points ahead of Koen Burkhart's and Peter van Solen in the championship. A mistake by either party and the chance of winning the title might vanish. Best thing is to stay close, perhaps, and wait for the pit stops to see who will end up winning this one. Sport 1 class leader, John van der Voort, Priscilla Spelman's BMW 1 Series, having another great outing. Battle for second in GT, Sean Balfe being dive-bombed by Simon Atkinson's Lamborghini. Balfe won on Saturday, Atkinson was third. Pierre-Etienne Bourdais is the leader. Pim van Riet right behind them in the BMW. He was fifth on Saturday, a place behind biggest rival Barry Mason. Although he's ahead of Mason in this race, he really needs to move forward to score more points. Sean Balfe's a guest driver, so no need to worry, but Atkinson is a championship contender, so Pim van Riet is definitely aiming at him. And this time, Atkinson's Lambo gets the run through Eau Rouge, but better exit speed from Sean Balfe's Ferrari that won on Saturday puts him back in front at the top of the hill at Les Combes. Pim won't get by Atkinson, finishing in 4th place. In the GT class, the Orange Lotus of Jan van der Kooi dropped out of the race with a punctured tyre, which tore the bodywork in the back of the car to pieces at the top of the Kemmel Straight. Nightmare. Lotus nightmares too for Teun Rutgers. He crashed his Lotus, and distinct lack of downforce on the remains. A stunning drive from the E-Tech Viper. In the first stint they moved up to 2nd place, slicing through the field. Will it be enough though for them to take a win from the back of the grid?
Als we dit doorzetten...
Well, if we can keep up this pace and take advantage of less result seconds than our rivals, we should be able to finish on the podium. After yesterday's disaster, we're really keen to win this one, says Philip. Battle for the lead now with the Corvette of Wolf Naten. Robert de Graaf looking outside, having to lift on the straight. That's a little bit naughty by the Corvette driver. He's taken over from Jaap van Lagen, of course. And up the inside. Good move by Robert de Graaf. He takes the lead of the race, for the moment at least. Glengetty in the McLaren slicing through the field, passing Jan Versluys for 4th place. Glyn not happy after losing yesterday's race out of the bus stop on the final lap. He's pushing extra hard. Well, Versluys doesn't want to take that one lying down. Brand new McLaren still under development. Battle for 8th place in Super GT. Frans Lamotte, who took over from Koen Wouters, and Jan Storm, who spun his BMW in the first corner. Storm gets his nose in front at the bus stop and keeps it in front all the way up the hill to Les Combes. Well, once in front, Robert de Graaf and Philip Ribbons stayed out front. The E-Tech Viper winning, having started from 50th position. Jaap van Lagen, Wolf Naten, yeah, okay, enough of that dancing. Jim and Glengetty finishing 3rd, behind the Corvette pairing and the Viper duo. Robert de Graaf says if you look at all the bad luck we've had this season, including yesterday, the pace is good, the car's great, but sometimes things just break. Today everything was fine though, so super happy. Robert and Philippe dropped back to 3rd place in the standings after this weekend at Spa, but they still got a good chance of the runner-up spot and an outside run at the title. Pierre-Etienne Bourdais in the Volvo S60 Silhouette was close to winning the race, but with a collision in the back marker dropping him back to 2nd place, Sean Balfe made it a double at Spa. He was as surprised as anyone. Simon Atkinson again on the podium in 3rd in his Lamborghini.
Certainly they didn't seem to like me doing what I did yesterday, and that showed today. It was really hard racing, thoroughly enjoyed it. It's a bit of confusion whether I got class win or P2 from my pit crew, but my LED board says 1, so that's a good start for me.
Well, the digital display turned out to be right. Sean Balfe was confirmed as victor ahead of Pierre-Etienne Bourdais. Simon Atkinson again on the 3rd step on the podium. And with Pim van Riet finishing in 4th and Barry Mason dropping out, Van Riet and Thies gaining ground on Mason in 2nd place, just 15 points between them now. Werner van Herk led Errol Artan and Kees Kreiner on track, and that's how they finished on the podium. The Mazda driver winning in GTB from the Porsche and Aston Martin men.
Ja, absoluut. Een heel zoete overwinning.
A really sweet victory for me, says Werner. Yesterday I thought after the gearbox broke and I had to retire that I might as well go home and come back with my bicycle. But last night the crew worked really hard. They fixed the gearbox, they did a perfect job, and today everything was great. Errol Artan moves up to 3rd place in the championship. The top 3 crews can all still win it. It was Marcel Norbart who came out with victory in Sunday's Supersport encounter, taking the lead after the pit stops. It wasn't an easy race. Overhauling Koolreuser is never the work of a moment. Koen Bokart's Peter van Solen finished in 3rd. A bit of a strange race, says Marcel. Some of the track was colder than other parts, so the level of grip kept changing all the way round. I got a lot of pushing and bumping at the beginning of the race as a result. Luckily I was back in 8th, so I just watched it all. Quite a spectacular race, and Spa's always great to drive. In the championship, Kern and Pitt are gaining points in the championship. Most importantly, though, the Monster brothers still have to drop one score, as everyone else will do. Sport 1 class, John van der Voort and Priscilla Spelman beating Wesley Carranza, and Toon Rutgers with his half a Lotus finishing in third.
Het ging helemaal fantastisch vandaag.
Great day for us, says John. Our preparation was perfect. We really needed to regain the points that we lost last time out. The team gave us an absolutely perfect handling car. We both had an amazing race, good pace, great result. Well, the duo retook their championship lead on Saturday when Erik van den Munkhoff had technical problems and extended that on Sunday. Sport 2 was competing in a separate race at Spa to reduce the risk of speed differential. Martin West was first into Eau Rouge in the BMW Silhouette, but he speared straight into the barriers with steering failure. It was an immediate safety car situation. Fortunately, he emerged without injuries, but his car was wrecked. Kim Choin discovered how tricky Eau Rouge and Radillon can be, spinning as she climbed the hill and flat spotting her tyres. And despite her rivals Machiel Kars and Frank Bedorf dropping out of the race, she was unable to attack Rob Neiman. He won the race despite also having technical problems in the Renault Clio. Last 10 laps, really hard to keep the car on the track, he said. Everything was shaking and rattling, but we made it to the finish line. We scored precious points for the championship. If everything works out in Assen, we may well win it. He may indeed. He now has a comfortable lead over his closest rivals. That's it then from Spa. Join us next time out at Assen for the championship finale. This programme's brought to you by Dunlop Tyres, Autosportinsurance.com, Praga New Generation and Spa05.com.